All right, this is Mr. Frankman. I'm gonna just give this little test of if all the sound is working good, and if it is, then I'll be back in like 5 minutes. What? 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 Hello. Okay, my name is Frank. I make games, and we're finally kind of back. I have not showered this morning, and I look a little tired, but it's only because I am. And yeah, for anyone who's actually watching, this is usually where I do the personal segment of the stream. This is where I talk about everything that happens from the last time I was live to when I hit the button this morning. And we have a little bit. We have a little bit. So I streamed on Thursday. I streamed last Thursday. What I don't remember what day that was. But in between Thursday and now, I went to San Diego and I saw the Driver Era, which is pretty cool. The Driver Era is a band. There was a Disney Channel show called Austin and Allie. And let me actually just pull this up. So, oh god. So this guy, this Austin man. He is one half, or I actually don't know that much about the Driver Era, other than the fact that he's in it, and I mean, he's a lot older than being a kid now, but he takes his shirt off a lot. Yeah, so that was cool. It was kind of cool. I did a good bit. Took some really dumb photos in a bathroom and accidentally turned myself into a meme. And let me see if I can actually find. Let's see if I can find this photo. Here we go. I may or may not have took a bunch of myself in a little reflective surface, and then now you can kind of tell it's my friend group server, Discord server icon, which means that I did something right, I think. Hopefully. Accidentally started a bit. Okay. What else? I missed the Saturday upload, which is great. It's great. Love that. But I did it tactically because I am moving the start date, or not start date, the upload date of videos to Wednesday at 5. So, yeah, it's, it's not optimal to miss the day, but I was reading somewhere that apparently Saturdays are not that great of a day to upload on YouTube. And the superstitious part of me is like, oh, that might be why. So that might be why the views aren't as great as I want them to be. So we're going to try it. I have been forced to edit in Final Cut Pro now because I used to get the Adobe suite from my college, and they recently were like, nah, we're taking that shit back. Sorry. They renegotiated with Adobe, and Adobe said no. Which is cool. So I now have to edit in Final Cut Pro and make thumbnails in GIMP, which I don't know. It's a piece of software that is an enigma to me. Yeah. Speaking of editing, because I'm still getting back into the swing of things, Shorts will probably start up again Wednesday. I mean, that's when the video comes out, so I'll have one for that, and then hopefully every day after that. I got a bunch of clips from the Thursday stream, which was kind of a banger, if I do say so myself. And yeah. I guess one last thing. I got to play a Jackbox game, which doesn't sound super, saying, I got to try a Jackbox game. It's like, okay, well, a bunch of us have tried Jackbox games. Well, this one is part of Party Pack 10, and it's called Dodo Re Mi. You play as birds. It's a music game. It's a rhythm game. And I wonder if they're going to show any photos of the screen on your phone. I don't think so. I mean, this is the trailer for it. Oh, that's loud. You also can't hear desktop audio. That's fine. Basically, you pick a song out of a bunch of things, and you pick instruments, which some of them, I mean, woodblock, fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kazoos and 2 dugs. And you play a rhythm game for the duration of the song, and then it compiles everyone's data, and you use that to see how many correct notes you got to fight a boss. And it's a super cool game. And I want to see Dodo Re Mi. I want to see if we got any images of the phone screen. This is sort of what it looks like. You get to choose an instrument, and you get, oh, you can't see. And depending on how hard it is, you'll get these streams a la or very akin to Guitar Hero. So as the notes line up with these points, you'll have to hit those segments. And I don't know how they put Guitar Hero on the phone effectively, but it's actually really cool, and it works better than you might think. Yeah, some of the sounds are gross. There's like burps, which are disgusting, and then there's like gargles and stuff, which I think are kind of just funny. But I don't know how, I would love to understand how they sync everything up. So they send all of the instrument tracks to everyone's phones, and then you play to them, and then they compile all of that data and play it as a song after like 2 minutes. I don't know how they do that. It's really, really sick. It's really, really sick. Yeah. Okay, so this brings us to the age-old question of what are we doing today? Because because that's all I really have personal news wise. Haven't done too much. It's only been a few days. That is the right size. So what are we doing today? I have a Europe, so I actually feel good for once. So today, something I wanted to do last Thursday, because that's when it got announced, was try the Unity free weekly asset thing. So try the free. That is not how you spell free. Free asset day. Woo. What was it? I have the link. It was. Here, I gotta fix my other monitor. So it's one of these like mobile game templates. Oh, Jesus. You can kind of tell based on these that it's a mobile game, because these are very mobile game vibes, ads. A snake among us. Regardless, it is basically an entire game template. And I think all you'd have to do is add in the effects, the juice. The game template is basically you have some colors of stuff and you have to merge all of them together to complete the level, and then you go to the next level, which is pretty cool. And I don't think you can mix the same, like, different colors into the same block. Yeah, they stack. And it's a puzzle game, and you know, I don't think I'm gonna do too much with this, because it really just seems like a mobile game idea that everyone is going to use. But you know, it has some advertising stuff built in, which is cool, I guess. And I think it'd be fun to try. Is a complete game from Watermelon Games. Those are the people who make it? Yeah. Oh, they make a bunch of complete games. What is this? Okay, this is a top-down shooter template. These assets are usually expensive, and this one is free for the week with a code. I don't actually remember what the code is, but there's a guy on Reddit who will tell you. Yeah, so they have this this stack ball template, which, if you've ever played, oh god, what's the game? I used to play it in high school, but these are all like sort of mobile game templates. And then one of them was free. Apparently Unity does a free asset every week, and they've been doing it for a while, but I didn't find out until last week. So we'll try this. I don't think we're gonna do much with it. Wow, they have advertising and audio. I mean, that's good, I guess. And yeah, so let's try this first. Actually, I'm gonna close out this editor and we'll open a template project. So we have an asset testing one, and we'll see if this actually works. Oh, nope. I mean, to be fair, Unity is not open right now, but you know, you never know. It's just not working. Ooh. We'll check cookie cooker. Hey, that's not bad. We'll take one of those. I mean, I only really care about this number going up. But yeah. Ooh. Yeah, so I just want to try this out for, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll get into the meat of the day, which is a bug fix day. And I started this last Thursday, but basically in Trello I have this list of bugs, and it sort of involves some like polish items, and I just want to knock out some of them. Because some of them are like actually kind of game breaking issues. We fixed some high priority ones, which is just some kicking issues, some like how movement modes interact, priority issues, as well as our sprint movement just deciding not to work sometimes, which was fun. And then we started trying to work on getting this death camera rendering third-person models and not first-person ones, but that one never got fixed, and actually I think made one of the other issues worse. But we have like two high priority issues which involve the animations of the first person view, the first person stuff, not working with split screen. So it works if you have remote animators, and well, it works if you have one local player. It doesn't work if you have more than that. Okay. It would be in my assets. Jelly merge. Yeah. Download. How big is this one gonna be? Okay, it's tiny. I'm just gonna import it. Usually you should make a new project, but oh, what dependencies? Oh, probably like the in-app purchase ones. It probably needs the AdMob package and the IAP package and the Unity ads package. It's interesting that they like, I mean, this is a complete game package, but usually one of these features, because it's one of those mobile games that just targets you grinding level after level after level, and so there's 50 unique levels and an infinite level randomizer. So so you could technically just ship this with some sound effects and maybe an art style change. I don't know. Man, how long is it going to take to compile? The perfect starting point for your next hit. Yeah. I have I mean, philosophy, yes, copycat games, and I would describe this as a copycat game, do sometimes get popular. But unless you take this and you iterate on it, you're not going to get anything different than hundreds of other games on the App Store. Oh. Oh, that's fun. One of these packages is not installing, and I think that is going to prevent us from actually running anything. Oh, it didn't even let us... What? It didn't even install the package. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, this might not even be a segment that we're doing, because for some reason it can't resolve the universal render pipeline package, and I don't feel like dealing with that right now. Not on stream. That's like a... I feel like it would just take a bunch of Google searches sort of issue, you know? We'll just load up the project, and I guess we'll just not do this. I mean, it's free asset day, but at the same time, like, I don't know. It doesn't really intrigue me in the way that it might intrigue some other people. Like, yes, it's got 12,000 views in the past week, but that's because it's free right now if you have a code. Also, it's been out for at least 3 years. When did this get released? Original release date. Latest release date was that. Original. Oh, they don't give us an original date. Where's the changelog? Releases. Original release date 2019. Yeah. So this is like back when I'm trying to remember the game or the name of like the publisher. But it was like I'm gonna look this up just in a different tab. Helix Jump, I think was the name. Who made it? Who made it? Voodoo Games. This looks like a Voodoo game. It looks like a Voodoo game, and I mean, it's back from 2019 when Voodoo games were kind of popping off. So, you know, I guess that's fine. Okay, so I think the biggest focus of today's like bug fixing period, you can see I was getting B-roll for a video. The biggest focus is going to be this death camera one, and where is the, here it is. Split screen, first person, and third person animations don't like to work. And I'm gonna need to plug in another controller. Okay, so let me show you sort of what the issue is, and I can then show you, if I comment out some lines of code, that things change. Oh, of course, every single time I open Unity now, I have to refresh the default prefabs, and I don't know why. I don't know. Oh well. Okay, so if I connect two controllers, I go to the training ground, you can see that the animations don't actually, you haven't even seen what they're supposed to look like. So they're out here. The animations are supposed to be about, you know, first person, you're supposed to be holding the sword. If we only have one player, you can see this is what the animations are supposed to look like. But when we have at least one guy, two guys, and we go to the training ground, then they don't like to work. And previously, I can show you why this is not happening. If one of the players was dead, look at that. It actually fixes the animations for the other player. Interesting, right? I'm now going to go and place this character right in front of the death camera. And I'm going to have the other character conveniently fall out of the map. And you can see that it renders, for a split second, the first person model. And we want to just render the third person model. Let's see. So those are our two issues that we really need to tackle. And they have plagued me about as long as I can remember. Actually, let me pull up a really, really old build. Like not even this prototype. Like this build was maybe early mid 2022. Prototype 1. So this, cool. Thank you. So this is a really old prototype, and let's see, I can add another player. You can see I was really trying to make its accounts would work. And I think if I hit the training ground, you can see that we have two players, but we still have that issue with the animations. At least they idle animate. Huh. And we have sounds. Sound is something I do want to work on at some point soon. But it's just not there yet. Oh, this isn't going to take a control P. Let me actually write this down. I mean, we already have a sound sprint set up. We just need to do it. Okay, so the information that we have is that if we have one player rendering at a time, it works. And we know that when we have our main camera rendering, these are name tags. But for player models, we have some logic. So on this is our camera stack component, and this is on or this is holding all of our cameras for each of our players. So everything. Main camera, world space UI, weapon UI, death camera, and the death UI camera. So we have 6 whole cameras. Most of these are overlays, but we have 6 cameras. So we also keep a reference to our own player model, which will just get sent when we create this character. And we iterate through all of the player models, which gets stored in our game manager. So if the model is null, we just skip it. If it's our player model, then we want to hide our third person renderer. And we want to show if it's our third person model, we either want to then we want to hide our first person or our third person stuff. Otherwise we want to show it. So basically if it's, we don't want to look at our own third person model, but vice versa. If the model is not our player model, then we want to disable the first person stuff and enable it if it is our first person model. God, I am really good at talking, but that is why we do this, is so that I can get better at explaining code and concepts and things. So now we have, that's our world space camera. This is our death camera. So what I want to happen here is exactly the same as this, except we don't need to check if it is our model or not, because our model is not going to be active. So it doesn't matter if the renderers are enabled or not. Oh, hold on. So this all works by enabling and disabling renderers. That is how we hide stuff. This object is deactivated, if I recall correctly. Let's look at it. Let's just look at it in an editor. I think that might be the problem, is that we deactivate these objects. Or we deactivate, well, we deactivate the dead ones. So that shouldn't matter. We only really want to show or hide stuff if they're alive. Okay, so if I do this, we start our entire networked game. And now we see our player pawn, which when we die gets deactivated. Okay. I am going to create an online game that just throws us into this menu, or throws us into the lobby screen. Is it a player setting? Yeah, respawn time. I'm just gonna max this out. And set us onto the training ground. Okay. Okay, so that is gonna put our first player right in front of the death camera. And then now you can see that our first person model renders and is working. But we want our third person model to render, and it is not rendering. And then we get this character back. So actually, so far everything is actually working as it's intended. What we want to do here, and what we're already doing, is for each model, we iterate through them like we did on the main camera. And if the model's null, we skip it. Otherwise, we go through every third person renderer and we enable them. And we're supposed to hide the first person ones. Ooh. I don't know what happened there. Okay, camera stack. All right. Let's see if that changes anything. If I recall correctly, adding this line, the reason it's commented out, breaks the first person models for everything, which is fun. Like, I don't really want to be setting everything onto different layers and then just like using that to hide things. It's a possibility. I think what might be happening is that Alright, I'm gonna go set this character up. What might be happening with at least the first person animations is that every time we enable or disable them, we break them like this. Because now you can see that now that we're disabling these every time we render the okay, so we're showing the third person one, but we're not showing this one, I think. And so that's why, God, I'm like I'm trying to like think about it and bug test it at the same time as I'm trying to explain it. So I think what is somewhat happening, and I can show this by extending our respawn time. Boom, boom. This guy needs to go all the way up here. Woo. Okay, so I'm gonna pause it. So we have here both a first and a third person model, and you can see that we actually have two rigs here. We have our first person one, which, let me try and find a renderer on this thing. I mean, we're trying to hide everything. I don't know if it's working. But it seems like the first person one is what is active, and the third person one is what is not active, is disabled. Interesting. Or is just, it's not being shown because we have a capsule and you can see that its renderer is turned off. So what's interesting is that like we tell the third person stuff to turn on. I mean, we could just steal this logic again. And I can just, oh, it's this. Because we don't really have to worry about our own model if the death camera is rendered or not. I mean, we still should not show the first person stuff. I'll just do that. We should hide all of the first person things. Alright, and now we get to wait for it to recompile. I like, seriously, I have no idea. Like, it's something that's really hard to test because we have so many cameras rendering each frame, and when you pause it, it will always stay in the same like rendering order. It'll stay like certain objects will be able to be seen and certain objects won't be able to be seen just because of where the scene view gets drawn. When the scene view gets drawn, that's the word. In that sort of like camera stack ordering. Let me actually, I haven't checked. We don't have any stream chat. Okay. So I'm gonna throw this guy right in the front, and then, woo, ooh. Okay, so you can see that fixes our first person view, which is interesting, and then we only have one sword up, and it is our first person one. So what's probably happening is that the view in which, I mean, I wish I could see which one of these was if this was the third person or the third person model. I mean, ultimately, let's see. It looks like it's the first person model. Yeah, the third person one is still disabled. Okay, I didn't like that. I'm gonna actually do a quick Google search. Unity, disable renderer. or just, because what we're trying to do is conditionally render things on certain cameras. So we have all of these cameras here, and they create a stack, and we just turn on and off things that we want to be shown and things that we don't want to be shown. We know that the death camera is running. And we go through all of our player models. God. Oh. So if it's our player, we turn it off. Otherwise, we're just checking if the tag is that. Okay. Hold on. We should actually like read the code that we're using before we decide to say it's wrong. Okay. If that fixes it, that would be kind of cool. I don't expect it to, but it would be kind of cool. Okay. Training ground. This guy's already here. I keep almost knocking my drink over, which is, it would really just be perfect. Okay, so we're still not seeing the actual third person character model, the capsule. So if it's our third person model, hide it. I mean, ultimately, like, or no, it should be show all third person models. God, I woke up with a headache today, and I think it's just going to be one of those days. Because this is, I mean, if we can fix this, headache will go away. I know that. But if we can't, headache will continue. So, I mean, we changed the code. We should see if it works. Like, I know the conditional rendering works. We need to make sure that the death cameras aren't, like, being removed, or like we realistically shouldn't have to worry about the death camera at all. Let's see, we're gonna be able to see that one guy. Yeah. Realistically, the death camera should just not enable or not see first person stuff. Okay, so we actually have two models there. Okay. Interesting. Like, just watch. So we'll leave that guy there. But we have two models. I mean, you can only see it for a split second because I haven't set the respawn time to be any longer. But okay, so that's something that we can work with. I guess we should see if the capsule is being seen. Even it should be. I mean, there's a couple things I want to check. The first is what our death camera is actually being told to see. So if we look at our camera stack and we go into here, we have our death camera, which is supposed to see everything, and I want to turn off the weapon layer because that's just going to be the first person weapon and world space UI actually, because we don't need to see hit numbers. We're not going to be producing hit numbers while we're dead. Okay. And then when we go here, the only two that are off are already set off. So this is the player layer. So setting it to not render first person stuff should prevent it from having two models. So with the current coding setup, we are seeing both the first person and the third person model while we're dead of each character, but we are not seeing like the player body. And this should just automatically not show one of the swords. Oh, we don't see any of the swords now. Look at that. Ooh, fun. Okay. If we look at our what layer are our third person models on? Are those on the weapon layer? They shouldn't be. I mean, I don't actually know how those are handled. Okay, combat, weapons. Let's just look at our D-type is on the default layer. Okay, yeah, change children. And we're only looking at our third person weapon models. Default. Yes, change children. Okay, we're only going to be really looking at the D-type. Okay. Okay, so now we can see a model. It's pretty clearly having some issues, but we can see a model. So that's good at least. I think some of the stuff was on the wrong layer. So then we probably want to go through and just really quickly change all of these, because it doesn't really matter if they're all on the default layer. Like, that's great, but or if the parent object is on the default layer, because what might be happening is that our model is not on that layer, but it should be fine. Yes, change children. And then lastly, we have our S and S type. Boom. Boom. Okay. And now I mean, okay, before I play again, I just want to save myself some time, and we're going to go and we're going to set the default respawn time instead of 1 second to 5. So that should be, oh, hey, to 5 seconds, and then we'll save that. Just so that I don't have to go into settings every time and change that if I want to pause. Gives us a larger window. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we're getting some flickering. Ooh, and you can see I even paused it. Ooh, that's fun. So whatever is rendering most recently is not rendering the first person. So it's probably, I don't even know what this is rendering. I mean, yeah, I really don't know. What the fuck? Okay. Interesting. I mean, the flickering is definitely something we want to pay attention to. Also, why we're getting regen stuff, don't know. I don't know. Wow, that's a lot of logic. I mean, sometimes we just have issues with the third person models not even being shown. Like if I I just load up a lobby. I mean, this is working fine. If I do different teams, does that make it? God, I don't know. That's super interesting. Okay, if I was to hop out of the map, I'm gonna move this character into the middle of it. Then you can see the third person weapon flickering, and every time we pause, it's turned off in the rendering order. Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna create a little test script. Create a C# script, and we're just gonna call this is renderer enabled. And then we'll just in here have a debug log. So if we can get a renderer, then I want to get that renderer and dot enabled. Just print out, is this thing enabled or not? And I'm gonna stick this on our D-type third person prefab. And D-type the third person. Let's find a renderer actually. Okay, we'll put it on this one. If I could type. There we go. So we're gonna constantly be getting debug messages for if we're enabled or not. Actually, I'm gonna add one parameter to this, and this is that way we can specify which one we are debugging. So okay, so this is just a little check boolean. If I'll just find one of these components once we load it up, and I'll see which one it is on, and I'll turn that check on. Okay, training ground. Okay, so we have two of these. This is on the first player, I believe. Okay. And so we are moving the first player. True. So it's still true. We get a couple of false ones. It's interesting that we get false every once in a while. And then just in case, since we're still getting a bunch of trues, I'm gonna see. I mean, ultimately, like, this is not a great way of checking it. I just realized. So the reason that this is not a great way of checking it is that update gets called in a specific point in our rendering of the frame. Update gets called in the middle, and I'm pretty sure that all of this gets called before the update. What is the rendering order? No, what? Unity rendering order. Okay, so this is for the built-in pipeline. Overlays happen. Script execution order. Okay, so that's not helpful. Hold on. This line. So Unity calls a wake function, so it needs to invoke during a frame in that specific order. Later calls any update functions of active game objects in the same order. Okay, I want to see where update happens. Yes. Yeah, update is called every frame. Where in the frame is update called? Because we have an update, a fixed update, and a late update. I just want to see in what order these are being called. Because I have a feeling that like it's great that I just decided to come up with this, but I don't think this is going to work at all, because I'm pretty sure that this update call is never going to happen in the middle of this. And what I'd want is it to be, I'd want to call this little check at the end of every time this function gets called. So maybe not a great idea to debug it with. I'm just trying to figure out what is causing the flickering and what is causing, I mean, really any of this. So let's go here. Let's take this is renderer enabled component off. And then we can just delete it. Yeah. And it's not gonna like that, but oh well. Okay. Okay. We can probably remove, I mean, I think we might have already done this. Because the death camera can't even see first person stuff, we can just remove that line. We do want to see third person stuff, so realistically we should be turning on all of the third person models. We should be turning them all on. Okay, so now we can see it. Oh, that's interesting. It's possible that the third person route. Okay, so the first person stuff works when we only have one guy alive. Makes sense. That is how it's always sort of worked. But now we can actually see. And it's doing the same thing. So it's being hidden. hidden. Okay, where is we have our, those are prefabs. Combat base, third person combat base. Okay, so we have an answer to one of our questions, and that is that why is our third person capsule not being rendered? And that is just because it is not being told to render. This is only worrying about weapons. And so we have our weapon bases, or our combat bases, I should say, which just hold, they just hold the weapon stuff. Okay, so maybe, I mean, no, we're not, are we not using those? I'm confused. I have to reteach myself the system every time. So we have third person and first person visuals. Okay. And it's not on the combat manager, it is on the player model. So we start with a first person and a third person render root transform. Render root. And this is also using the render root. Okay. What is the order in which the death camera is being rendered? I mean, ultimately I don't know. I thought I was onto something, at least with why certain things were being shown, certain things weren't. Okay, so the third person renderer is turned off, at least here. If we unpause, it might not be able to unpause actually. Oh, it saved itself. Okay, so it's flickering. Transform has been destroyed. We're trying to access it. Okay, that's probably not an issue. And maybe, what if we just moved this in the front? Maybe it could be an ordering issue. I kind of doubt it. I doubt any part of this is going to change, because realistically, we're only going to be calling this with one camera. And so shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, I really do doubt that this is a camera ordering issue. It's possible. I don't know what the death camera ordering is, but it is interesting that suddenly we cannot see even the third person one. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Okay, we'll leave that there. It's just what I don't understand is like why we are just not seeing them. Let's see, what do we ever set the ordering of this? Yes, we do. We set these there. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We get that's all good there. Okay, so I'm gonna test. I have an idea. I'm gonna try, and like what we've been doing right now is setting up so the top player is in front of the death camera, and then the second player dies. And you can see that right now we do not see the third person weapon. And what I want to do now is I'm gonna make it so the second player is in front of the death camera, and the first player dies. And now we see a model. Interesting. And if we do this again, the second player's model is seen. It flickers, but it can be seen. And if we swap again, so I'm gonna stake our first person, or our first player, and I'm gonna then move this around. Boom. You can see we cannot see the renderer, or we can't see the weapon at all. I'm gonna do this again. The sword is active and working. Okay, so regardless of which player it is, the animations get fixed when we die. So that's good. What's not great is it does seem like we can only see the second person's model if the death camera can only see the second person's model. We can't see the first person's. Yeah. Huh. Which is interesting. And I would argue, so anything, I mean, we're not going to be able to see first person stuff, so it doesn't matter. And realistically, this should be turning on everything in the third person model. It should be turning on everything. I would love to see if like layers are getting set somewhere, but ultimately no idea. Yeah, that's fine. Like I know that there was something, I was changing layers of stuff somewhere. Maybe it was in the combat manager. I don't even know. I mean, ooh, camera stack. Okay. So name tag layers. Interesting. But we also, okay, so this is all name tag stuff. That's fine. That's okay. It's just interesting that it's not on. It's like what's supposed to happen is like this will all get called before we render the death camera. And so all of the third person stuff should be enabled, but it's almost like it's being turned off somewhere else. So I don't know. Okay. This is fun. You get to watch me just read documentation. Yeah, so if camera equals that. Okay. I mean, we're using Unity calls this method automatically. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I want to make sure that the death camera is at least getting called. I mean, I know we change logic and it changes, I guess, kind of what we can see there, but I do want to see if it changes anything, or I want to make sure it's being called. If it's being called, we have to worry about what it's doing. Okay. Death camera calls, and we're getting about 100 and something a second. Okay. So now I want to check camera stack and make sure, yep, we still have a reference to our death camera. Okay, this is too many. That's too many calls. What could it be? So we know that it's being called. The death camera stuff is being called. We maybe should disable the death cameras when we're not using them. Okay. So we know that it's being called. Debug.log for. Oh. This is such a long call. Dot length. Okay. Is there anything here that might work or that might be helpful to us? So spawn. Oh, these are all okay. Okay. Any of these anywhere? A lot of those are old. If they say nerd herd, they're old. Oh, we stopped using this. Okay. That's fine. I can get rid of that. And then I don't think it's going to have any information for our current issue though. Okay. So one of these has 6 renderers and one of these has 9. Okay, hold on. If we look at our third person model, how many renderers are we going to have in that? Because I have a theory, it's 3. We have 3. 1, 2, 3. So one of these has 6 being enabled and one of them has 9 being enabled. Meaning either it's not being found, or one of these, probably the second one, is having to render more things. I wish that, okay. We have our player pawn, right? Yeah. Player pawn dot. We're gonna have to write this out. Player pawn dot player driver dot get. Okay. Dot controlling player dot value dot. And the local player ID is just a. Okay, so we want this. It's a really, really long one, but I want to see who exactly is enabling 6 and who's enabling 9. No, we don't have any. We don't have enough juice to pull a cookie. Okay. Okay, so sometimes we had 6 renderers. All right, so what probably happened is that, and I'll have one of these players die, and then when they respawn, we'll see this get checked up a couple more times. Oh no. Interesting. Okay, so that happens on spawn. Yeah, it only happens on spawn. We don't want those. Yeah. So these will only happen on spawn. They happen for 6 frames. And that is just while players are spawning in. So the extra 3 renderers are from when the player does not have a weapon model. So that is unfortunately not a lead. Those extra 3 renderers are the weapon, and we only have to worry about enabling them if we spawn in for the first time. And what if the second player dies? This is what I want to try. I'm assuming we're going to see the same setup. We're not going to actually have any issue here. I mean, you can see that we aren't enabling any renderers while they're dead. Ooh, that actually could be a lead. So let's go. Let's put P1 here. Okay. And then let's have P2 do a convenient death thing really, really quick. I'm gonna clear that. So you can see that we have a bunch of frames, and then suddenly these renderer calls we'll just do this from this point. So P1 is in its own place. P2, when P2 is deactivated, you can see that it stops rendering all of those. Makes sense. It doesn't need to. The player is dead. Now, let's have P1 die. I'm going to actually clear this again. So you can see I have a theory. Oh, it also stops. Damn. Damn. I was really hoping that that would be a lead. Was that one of them was activated and one of them wasn't. I mean, yeah, P2's model is there in the death camera, so something's kind of working. Or at least it hasn't changed. And now if we swap, if P2 goes to a die, yeah, we can only see. So what is different between P1 and P2 other than camera ordering? What is different? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I love that I have been working on this for like an hour and we don't have any sort of progress. I don't have a lead on what is causing these to not be rendered. Which is always fun. I'll have a couple options. I can either continue bashing my head into this wall and trying to get it to work, or I can pick a different bug and go with that. So I think, let's look at our list. The other one that I really want to get working is figuring out why these first and third person models don't like to work, or animations don't like to work when we have multiple local players. Like, what is different? What is different when we have one player versus two? Just locally. What is different about our first person renderers? I have a theory. If we were to comment out this and just have this happen, we would have no animation issues. Yeah, it is the moment. Okay. The moment we have a second renderer, it breaks the first one. And I really wonder if just this is the issue. I could, in theory, create a layer that is not shown to anything, and then instead of enabling and disabling renderers, we just send them to those layers. I don't know how computationally expensive it will be to, send things to layers every single render pass, but it can work, I guess. Okay. So you can see, like, we can see the first person models, and they're rendered in a different FOV, so they're not matched up with the player, but you can see that all of the animations are in fact fine. So the issue with our first person animations comes from enabling and disabling them every frame. And what's even more interesting is our third person weapon models also. Do those work? They look like they were working to me. Yeah. Oh no, our third person ones are also broken. Or they're still broken. But our first person ones look fine. So the issue is with how we are showing these and hiding these. Okay. That's this will be interesting. So what is happening is when we enable or disable each of these, the animator likes to break, and we need to re-strategize how we are showing and hiding these things so that way they don't break. And I have a theory that the way I'm going to do this is by sending them to different layers. Yeah. Okay. Header. This is going to be layers. How do I even want to do this? Basically, we're going to have to send... Yeah, we're going to have to change game object layers consistently. Rather than enabling them and disabling them, okay, I should create a layer called hide or just non-shown, and we need to make sure that every single camera in the camera stack does not show that layer. Layers, edit layers. Why is layer 3 a user layer? That's like a genuine question of mine. Why is this? Okay, I don't know. Hidden. So we'll have one called hidden, and we'll have a different one. So these are going to be strings. So we'll have the player layer name, which should equal something. Public string. I'm going to make these not public in a second. Hidden layer string. And public string weapon layer string. Which should just be weapon. I haven't saved, right? Yes. Okay, good. So we have weapon. We have player. And as far as everything else, that should work. Those should be our 3 layers. I'm going to just make these serialized field private. Okay. That way we can edit them if we need to. What does this return? It returns an int. Okay. Well, the layers are not going to change. So we can just call this on start. We should have we're going to just basically make integers to store our layers. So player layer. This is going to be our hidden layer. And this is going to be our weapon layer. And we're just going to have 3 of these calls. So player layer is going to equal this, where we take our player layer name. Oh, I'm going to make these all string. Now we're going to take our hidden layer and our weapon layer and our hidden layer string and our weapon layer string. And so now when we call start, we will fill these integers with whatever layers correspond with these names, which means that we can take this and we can just say player layer. There we go. All right. So now it's the really fun stuff. Wait, I'm not going to fix that one. We're never going to change the world space UI ones. We're only going to really be changing models. So we can use this as an example, but if we don't want to show it, we can then set r dot GameObject.layer equals hidden layer. I'm gonna do this with just the first person ones. And then if we want to show it, this is gonna be on the weapon layer. Yeah. So this is just gonna be on the first person ones, and because we're just hello, I don't know who you are, Agent 248 or 258. I know how to read. I learned at some point. But hello, how you doing? My name is Frank. I'm working on a multiplayer sword combat game. And today is a bug fixing day, which means that I'm gonna just be bashing my head into a wall the entire stream. For fun. Hey, okay, so that fixes our first person animations. It's just sending them to different layers. Right now I'm trying to debug why certain I have like a conditional rendering setup, so there's a bunch of cameras that are all rendering different things. So like we have a first person camera or a first person weapon camera, which just renders the first person weapon, and then we have a third person model which gets rendered on everyone else's main cameras. And previously I was enabling and disabling these actual models like this. I was just taking all the renderers and turning them off before each camera was rendering, and it was completely breaking all of the animations. So I'm slowly chipping away at trying to fix all of this. Okay, so what did we put the I think the third person models are all on the default layer. Yeah. Which it should just be 0, but I'm gonna make sure that we get it each time, every time. So default layer equals, we can just copy that. The game does have a name. It is currently called Castle Wars, which it's a very working title name. Basically, back in the day when I was in like middle school, there was a custom game in Halo Reach with that name, and this is very like loosely based off of that custom game, and so I just stole the name. But basically, we would have 2 bases on opposite sides of a bridge, and it was just capture the flag. And you would have to go to the other team's base and then take the flag and then run all the way back, and we just had energy swords. So it was interesting. It like completely missed all of the gunplay in Halo, but I had a good time, and I wanted to turn that into a full game. So I'm just like adding more swords and vehicles and stuff and seeing where that goes. I'm still pretty much in the prototyping phase. Yeah, it's an okay backstory. I know it's a pretty common one for game developers to be like, I really liked this one experience. Let me take this and make it into its own thing. Because ultimately, like, you know, it's a game that I want to play, and so I'm trying to make it. Okay. Okay, so that changes our first and our third person stuff, at least for the main rendering. Now we get to see if it works. It's the fun non-stressful time. Can we program something, and can it work? Okay, so we have 2 models, so no, it is not exactly working. I wish I could see which camera had all these. I mean, so the main camera should not be showing the first person models. Oh. Wait, why is... You know, I just realized something. Why are we rendering the first person stuff at all in the main camera? This should all be in its own... Because we have a specific weapon camera all the way up here, which is just supposed to render our first person weapon. So why not actually take advantage of that? Oh, hold on. We gotta steal this line. And I'm gonna steal all of this because we're gonna need to iterate over all of these player models. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if that works. I mean, the whole goal of this is to make everything more robust so that I don't have to worry about it breaking later. It still will, but at least I won't have to worry about it. I'll be able to confidently say that it works. Okay. So we're not rendering other people's first person views. We're only rendering our own. So that's good. Which means that all we have to do is take this line and copy this here. So for our main camera, we want to hide the first person weapon model. And that should actually be parity with what was working before. And then we get to figure out how to get this stuff to work. Boom. Okay, so that is still, it's not working. Which one? I mean, the third person model is being shown. Oh, actually, that could be it. The third person model might be being shown for the weapon camera, maybe. Maybe? No. Hold on. Maybe I should actually like look at what is being shown by the weapon camera and use that as our own, as a debugging tool. Ooh. Okay, so it looks like, I mean, one of them has weapon sway. We're showing everything twice. That is a weird visual bug. It's kind of cool. It's a weird visual bug. So let's go to our camera stack. We only have one of these. Weapon camera. Show me what this is seeing. So the weapon camera is only seeing our first person view. Can I make this larger? Yeah, so the weapon camera, when I move around, is only seeing our normal first person view. Okay. So then which one is it? We have our world space camera, which isn't seeing anything. We have our camera, which is seeing a weapon model. It shouldn't be seeing a weapon model. The UI camera only sees UI. That's good. That's good. Okay, so we got to turn it off. We got to turn something off in the main camera. And assumingly, I think that's our third person model. Okay, so we hide our first person stuff for the main camera, and realistically, we should just hide, oh yeah, we hide our own. Hold on. If the tag is the first person, oh, if the tag does not equal the first person weapon, then we want to set it to the default layer. But somewhere, if it's, so we want an else sorry, I will explain this in a second. Or just explain my thought process. So I think what's happening is we are seeing our third person weapon model on the main camera. This is the main camera, and the sword is further out than usual, meaning that our FOV is higher. It's being, I'm assuming it's being shown. Actually, we can check this if we turn off this. Then we look at our camera again. Yeah, so our third person weapon model is being shown on the main camera. And the reason that is that we have this logic to check all of the third person models, and if it's our third person model, we just hide stuff. We hide it all. Which I'm not actually sure why this wasn't working, because technically it would be our own. Otherwise, that doesn't matter then. Otherwise, if it's not our model, then we were going to show it, assuming that its tag was not a third-person weapon. But then when are the third-person weapons even going to get rendered? Like, we should just show all of this stuff. I don't think this is going to change anything. I think I'm actually confusing myself by trying to explain what's going on. But we can try it. Doesn't hurt to try it. Yeah, so we handle everyone else's weapon models very well. It's just our own that we have an issue with. Okay, if I... Oh, we don't want to disable that one. That's not going to change anything. If we disable the weapon camera, so we still see two of these. So this is our main camera, and we are actually seeing both the first and the third person models. It's just that only one of them moves. Okay. Oh. So if we want to hide our own third person model, which should be doing, it's not doing, I guess. Why? Yeah, so here we hide the first person stuff. We can't just blanket hide everything. I'm going to make sure that this call is at least happening sometimes. Okay. Third person weapon also seems to be further out, better reach. So the third person weapon, the reason it seems further out is I actually have the cameras rendering at different FOVs. I have the weapon camera at a set, I think it's either 60 or 66 FOV, just so that every time I animate them, I have a consistent FOV, so I don't have to worry about, like I know in TF2, if you increase the FOV, it like almost stretches you out. You can see the ends of the arms. I don't have to worry about that. But then on the main camera, you can actually control the FOV. So I think part of why it feels further out is because it's on 90 FOV instead of 66 or whatever the default is. Okay, so yeah, and that's happening once a second, or once per frame. So we go through all the player models. If the model is our player model, we hide it. We hide all of it. I'm just gonna... This is gonna prevent our model, or it's gonna prevent any third-person weapon model from actually being seen. So this is not a good solution for it. But I just want to see if that gets it to work. No. Interesting. What camera am I working on then? Yeah, main camera. Interesting. If I just turn it off and then I'm gonna comment this out. Boop. Then it's just not going to show anything except it'll show our first person model for our weapon camera. At least it should. Okay. Ooh. Okay, so that's something. Really interesting. So the only places where we actually modify the third person render route, unless I forgot to save before changing this, which we'll do it again. I know I edited down here, but we'll save it again. We'll see if that was it. I have a habit of forgetting to save, and then it just, you know, I think that that didn't fix the problem, and it actually might have. But if just blanket disabling all of the third person models isn't working, then we have sort of our solution. Ooh, okay. So yeah, we're disabling everything in this render route, and it is decidingly not working. Okay. Let's look at what our camera is seeing. Training ground. We're gonna have to take this, move it out, and then we just want camera. So, oh, that's so weird. So when we look at it here as just the camera, you can see that there's no sort of splitting between the first person and the third person models. Because one has shake and one doesn't. So we are only seeing the third person model on the main camera, but it's almost as if we're rendering on the weapon camera twice, or on the World Space UI camera, which doesn't see anything, and the weapon camera, which we're seeing. It has weapon sway, but it is only seeing itself once. So then what is seeing? I really wonder what's seeing the extra sword. Because the third person one has no weapon sway, which is, I think, normal. Is server sending render info? It should not be. What I am doing to sort of like, I mean, all the rendering is happening locally. So we keep track on the game manager, which is a local component, specifically in this camera manager thing. We have lists of all of the name tags, all of the player models, all the death cameras, all of that sort of stuff. And we pull from this list. And then this list will get updated when we start the game. But it shouldn't be changing on the fly, and it also isn't being set from the server. It's just I'm using FishNet, the networking library, and so it spawns an instance of each player on every single client. Looks like it is. I mean, I don't think it is. Plus, this is acting as the server, so I'm not 100% sure that that would be an issue. If I like built it out and we were having an issue on a separate client, that might be part of the issue. But considering it was working earlier, and it's just that we changed some local rendering code and got it to look like this, I have a feeling it is a local issue. I just don't necessarily know what. Okay, so that should continue iteration of that loop. Let me just confirm that this camera cannot see the weapon layer. Good. And this camera can only see the weapon layer. Can it see the hidden layer? Okay. Okay, so when I said that we were going to create a hidden layer, and then I got to make sure that everything does not see that hidden layer, I said that and then never actually went and implemented that. So this camera should not see the hidden layer. This camera only sees world space UI. That one only sees weapon. That one only sees UI. This one should not see the hidden layer. Good. This one only sees UI. All right, so I think that is probably what was going on, was we were actually seeing the hidden layer. And now if we go and we look at this, there we go. We have our weapon sway on our first person view. And if we go and we look at the other player, ooh, that's fun. We don't actually see the player. And that is because we took out the conditional rendering part and we just hide all of the third person stuff. Okay. We're making progress. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Okay, so once this compiles, it should be back to the state that it was working, except now our first person animations shouldn't be super borked. And then we get to figure out why things aren't rendering for the death camera. Okay. And we can see other players. Swings work. Sweet. Sweet. Okay. Now we just get to write all of our death camera logic, which should just be, we take this third person model and we show it. And we take the first person model and we hide it. For the death camera. Okay. I really hope that that just works. It would be super cool if if that just works. But it wasn't working earlier, so I kind of doubt it's going to work now. I'm going to leave this player up here. That way we can see it when the other player dies. Yeah, so we can't see that player at all. They're just not there for some reason. Now, if we were to swap the players, earlier if P1 died but P2 was still alive, we could see P2's body. Now we can't see anything. Okay, so at least we have equality. We're supposed to show. I'm gonna set a debug log here. If I could type debug log. And so this should send all of the third person stuff to the default layer and all of the first person stuff to the hidden layer. And we weren't even seeing first person models, so the hidden layer thing should be working properly. Okay, I'm gonna go throw this guy next to the death camera so we can see it. And this guy is unfortunately gonna have to die. Okay, so we can't see anything. It's there, but we can't see it. Okay. So the death cameras can't see the hidden one, and but they can see default, so that's good. And we are rendering the death camera. Okay. So we can get rid of that. We know that we're at least getting into here. Let's see. How many renderers are we turning on effectively? Okay, we can stop searching for those. Okay. Alright. Other players already mostly in the way. Alright, so sending 4 renderers to hidden layer, sending 9 renderers to default layer, 1 to hidden. Okay, so these are just while we don't have, these are like during the spawning process, because they're each weapon model has 3 renderers. So 6 goes to 9 and 1 goes to 4. Alright, so these seem to be working fine, I think. But we're not seeing them. And I really don't understand why. And let's look. Let's see. So this death camera can't see anything. That one can't see anything. Okay. If I pull this out and we just look at our death camera, I mean, now we can see a player here. And this player can move around. But it cannot see one of the other, the second player. I mean, I'm assuming it's the second death camera. And actually, if we go and we look at the first death camera, we can also see just the first player. Ooh. So neither of the death cameras can see the second player. All right. We're going to do a little test then. So if P2 dies, we cannot see P1. Now I'm going to swap the places. I'm going to put P2 where P1 is. And then P1 is going to have to die. Does this see anything? No. Okay. Interesting. So what here is causing this not to be shown, because we can see the default layer. So we show the entire third person model, player, capsule, and all in the default layer. And then I mean, at least we're not seeing the first person stuff, so we at least know that this is working. But it's interesting that it feels like we can't see the default layer stuff. Like, it's on. It should be able to be seen. And that only sees UI. Okay. I don't even like really know how to check this, because ultimately, like, it's just that the death camera is like not rendering stuff. And we don't even need to die to see it per se. We have our death cameras here, and we can see a player in this one, and we can see the same exact player here, and it looks normal. Like, that's what we should be seeing. If we go and we move the second player over, I don't think we get to see the second player. Yeah, we still only see the first player. Even though he should be standing right there, we only see the first player. And in this other death camera, same setup. So our thing's still getting enabled and disabled. Enabled appears 4 times. Okay, so for hit numbers and for name tags, it is appearing. So that's fine. We don't really particularly need to worry about those, because we don't see those in the death camera anyways. But it is interesting that these are not being shown. Yeah, and it should just work. It should just work. But it's not. And what's weird is, like, we should be like, there's nothing to just skip any of the third person view models. It should be showing all of them. Okay. I mean, at least this bug, the animations don't like to work sometimes, we fixed that. That has been plaguing me for literally a year, because I've done this. I've had multiple prototypes of this, and it's all the same issue. What could it be? What could it be? Like, I don't even know what to do to get it to show up. Like, maybe we can set this to the player layer. Maybe that'll change it. Like, I don't think that this reference ever gets removed. And we know that it is being called for the death camera. So to me, it seems like it has to be a logic issue, but there shouldn't be any wrong logic here. It's just for every renderer in the third person root, children, we turn those renderers on. And by turn them on, we set them to what is now the player layer. I'm pretty sure I added a second controller. Okay, there we go. All right, that one's just gonna sit out there. And then P2 is going to die. Okay. Yeah, they're realistically, like, I don't think that there is an issue here. This death camera can't see them. This death camera can't see them. Except when we unpause and we're just playing, this death camera can't see them. That one can't see them. Are they alive? They are alive. So why can they only see one player? And in this case, that player is P1. When P2 is... Actually, I'm gonna... You know what? Let's see. So we can see... We can see P1. I'm gonna have P2 die. Okay, when P2 is dead, we can't see P1. That's weird. When P2 is dead, we can't see P1. I'm gonna write that down. P1, and we can almost never see P2. Okay. That's so weird. We have all the player models, and the player models, I mean, we know that this sort of structure works because it works for our main camera each time. And we know that this line is working too. So it's really just that for each, is there, like, am I just missing something? Ran over my headphone cable. Like, I know we're sending layers to the default layer, but I feel like we're just not drawing them. Okay, so now we can see P1. When does that change? Like, seriously, when does that change? I'm gonna... So, right now, one of the players is dead. If I toggle this... No? Oh, that's so weird. Okay, I might need to pick a different bug. I'm actually okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick, and then I will pick a different bug because this is giving me a headache. Okay. So now we got to pick a different bug because this one is kind of just being a pain. I think this one, this hit numbers one might be kind of easy. It's not really a bug. It's just that they're not rendering exactly how I'd want them to. They're a little large, and they are having a couple of issues. Here, let me turn on. We're gonna need to set this to teams and set the teams different. So let me just show you what one of the hit numbers looks like currently. So it's 3 lines because the text is too big. And it's showing a little negative sign. So what I want to do is I want to remove the negative sign, round these, and then make it all smaller. And the first thing that we can do for that is actually just go into this prefab and take this text size, which you can see is a little large. Maybe instead of it being 18, we can make this like 11 or 9. And then where do we draw these from? Hit numbers. This is where we draw them from. So player health amount. Okay, so we're just gonna do an absolute value to get rid of the negative sign, and mathf dot round to int. And that might be enough to get it looking good. Okay. Okay, so the only thing is that we're gonna want to make this negative, I guess. But I want to not show. Oh, okay. So what we can do is just round it here, and then this is gonna pick a color based on the value. The text. Yeah. Dot. Oh. Yeah. So then we take the absolute value here. So we'll take the color while it's still negative, and then we'll take the absolute value when we render it. Boom, just to make this easier, we'll set up an online game rather than going to the training ground. Boom. Okay, that looks normal. That looks normal. Sweet. And now if it was the other player's turn. Cool. Okay. Sweet. That was an easy one. I knew it was going to be an easy one, but I wanted to get back on track. All right, so we're now around the hit numbers, and they look normal. They're not huge. I think inadvertently we fixed this, I am gonna build it really quick, and I want to make sure that everything is working properly. It should be, at least when it comes to rendering those. 0.0.2.11, new FP and TP render testing. This is gonna take a minute, and it's probably gonna lag my computer out, but it's a good time as ever to check cookie clicker. And I don't know, is there anything else that I need to do? I mean, we can load on Minesweeper. You can watch me play Minesweeper. Okay, the guesswork is good with this one. Okay, I take it back. Guesswork not great. One of these days, I'm gonna try and make something that something that solves Minesweeper for me, so I don't have to play it anymore. But I'm not good enough to do that just yet. I miss the days of Unity building going kind of quickly. God, is there really anything else? Like, while we're rendering, or while we're building, is there anything that I can like check, plan out? We don't lock on it. Oh yeah. Okay, so this will be a fun one. Having a maybe don't lock onto teammates setting, because I implemented friendly fire, and the way that like sword lock on works is it goes by the same rules as what you apply damage to. So if friendly fire is on and you can apply damage to your teammates, it means that you can also lock onto your teammates. Which maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we shouldn't have attacks lock onto your teammates. Maybe we should. It might be kind of funny. Okay. So this is just to test if first and third person rendering still works across an actual built game, and it looks like it's working. Now let me not actually pause on that one. Boom. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So you can actually build up a combo by hitting your own teammates, and then you can attack anything else. You just don't do damage. Interesting. Okay. All right. It's cool that works. What else do we got? Hit numbers should rotate so that their up vector is the same as the player viewing them. Oh, that one's gonna be fun. Death camera needs. We were working on that one. Sometimes the death camera does not get deactivated. Let me see if that's actually still happening. I know I was having an issue. Like the extent of the issue was that if you loaded into multiple games in a row, the death cameras from previous games would actually overwrite the ones that were being created. So right now we can see all of our players, we can control them. If I set this to a different map, start game, okay, that looks fine. And it's working over and over again. That's also looking fine. I'm glad that this is working better. I mean, just having the first person animations look normal makes this feel a lot more solid, because it's not just immediately broken as soon as we launch in. Okay. So that one will be an interesting one to reproduce, is the death camera does not get deactivated. Only happening on host. Try with in-editor host. Okay. Block timer continues to tick down even after animation returns to idle. That one will actually be an interesting one. Block signal should decrease block timer by a percentage on the stored data. Okay. So it seems like we actually have some things that we could fix. Disable death cameras when not using that. Yeah. Lunging on clients is broken. Band cannons on clients is also broken. So of these, lock on settings, hit number, rotation. I should probably do that one. I should probably do hit number rotation. So this look at rotation, does this, oh, that's okay. Yeah, well, we taken up is thread safe. Can I call this with an up vector? Okay, so I can give it an upwards vector. Okay, sweet. So we want to look at this. Maybe we can just do t dot position dot. I mean, that's a vector. T dot up. Okay. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Because ultimately what was happening is if we were in anti-gravity, we'd be upside down, but the hit numbers would still be right side up, and so they would be upside down. If we were rotating around a planet, it would be even weirder. Okay. Actually, the first thing I want to check is we should just turn on teams. Do the hit numbers still look normal there? All right. Now, ultimate test of strength is if we're on a planet. This is the other controller. Yeah. If we're on a planet, can we hit each other? And do the hit numbers look normal? Yeah, kinda. I think that they should actually stay. Oh, that would be kind of hard. Is keeping them. Directed up according to the target that they are attached to. So when we set up the hit number, we might want a target. I mean, we have the source, so that's good. So then we can actually use source.transform.up. That might be enough. Hopefully that is enough, actually. Okay. Oh, hold on. I was gonna try and set it all up, and we can't even put out damage, so we're gonna be hit numbers anyways. All right. Yeah, so the issue is that, like, if we can rotate around a planet, like right now what we're doing is, like, name tags, which are supposed to be readable, are upside down when the player is upside down. So, actually, I'm going to make this full screen just so that you can see it a little better. But we use sort of we don't use a specific up vector for name tags. Okay, well, let's see how this works. Boom. I mean, ultimately, that's okay. No, it's not. I liked how it was before a little bit better. That is not a T. That is a Y. Y. Okay. Okay. God, it takes a while. What I need to do is create like specific game modes for testing. Or like custom game presets for testing. So that way I can test certain things depending on the setup. But I haven't implemented a custom game loader yet. So I have to set up the settings every single time. Okay. That looks alright. Ooh. One thing that isn't alright, actually, is that the place that this hit number gets instantiated at is the hit number. So we take the position from the health object, and then we take an offset plus a random value just to move it a little bit. And I'm going to actually change this offset to be a magnitude times the health transform up vector. That way it does not have that way it will always spawn within the or wherever the offset is supposed to be, whereas what was happening is like let me draw this out. So if we were on flat ground, this was our player, here's where we spawn it, here's our root, here's our offset, we'd spawn the hit number here, so like 35 would spawn there. If we were on the side of a planet, this is our center, and our offset was still set to be up. And so we would then spawn the number here. And we don't want to spawn the number there. We want to spawn it here again. So we will take this up vector and just take the magnitude of this offset and apply it to whatever this new up vector is. Okay, and then just boom, boom, boom. Oh, are we still? Hold on. I tried to swap teams before I could, and it errored out. That's actually a bug I need to write down, and it shouldn't be too hard to fix either. Is that if you try and swap teams, or you use the buttons that you would to swap teams, but you're not in a lobby, it doesn't know what to do and it errors out. Okay, how does this look? That looks pretty normal. Except for the rotation, which is just going to be kind of iffy. Did I save that? I don't know if I did. Okay, I was going to write down that bug. So, trying to change teams on controller before lobby is loaded returns an error. Shouldn't be too hard to fix. Multiplayer online. We'll just create a lobby. Okay. I just wanted to see if it saved the offset, and it'd be easier just to go into the anti-gravity area here. Those are still, I mean, they're spawning in the right place, I guess. Maybe? Let's go attack them. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Okay. I didn't mean to hit a man cannon. Okay, so they're spawning in the right place. The rotation is a little not working, I think is the right term. Okay. Interesting. So, I mean, this look at transform does not take our Z rotation into account, which could be part of the problem. So we're gonna have the one vector versus the other, just to check it. Oh, I need to get the whole thing. So that's the, okay. So we'll compare what we get out of this look rotation function to what it is with no Z component, and see if the Z component matters. And I have a feeling that it does. Okay, on two different teams. It's not gonna matter there because we are on flat ground. Even though, you know, there is a little bit of rotation there. Just a little bit. Whereas that one, it might be worth it to work on. Okay, so what is happening here? So we have a, this is, they're two different things. Got it. Oh, okay. If we want to look at this, it's stored there. I'm just gonna change all that. And then once this hit number is sort of looking right, then all the hit number stuff is done. So that's good at least. We're making progress. I have no idea how to solve that death camera issue. But ideally that would be like the perfect end of the day sort of. We get that done. I never set up friendly fire, so I'll just change it to 2 teams and we'll do that. Okay. Okay, so yeah, the rotations need to be fixed. It doesn't really know what up is for us. So, okay, we set our rotation to that. And then we remove this. Why? Unity is there. Like I know for name tags, which we might be taking some stuff from, that they get rotated and then we remove that component. But that is just because we are editing the local rotation there. So that way it always stays on an axis. Whereas we don't really have an axis, we have a point that we want this to stay on. Okay. I never added a second controller. Okay. Hey, that looks normal. That looks super normal, actually. Sweet. Okay, yeah. So as long as we're not trying to conform it to some axis, which doesn't exist, then we're fine. Cool. Okay, so the hit number stuff is done. What do we have here? Steamworks issue, coroutine because of the network manager. That is when we quit the game. One of these days I'll figure out how to fix those, just so they don't have too big of an issue. Trying to change teams, controllers. I'll write that down. Okay, what do I want to do next? I'm thinking this block timer one, and luckily we don't need to do split screen to fix this one. Finally, we can sort of just play the game. So when we block, you can see that, oh, that's the wrong one. You can see that the little indicator in the bottom right UI goes down. And the issue that I want to fix is that, like, right now I'm holding down block and I am going to let go and it still counts down for a little bit. And this is because the way that we are checking if we're blocking, and if we're blocking, we're going to count down this number, is by checking animation states. And so it has to transition back into the idle animation state before that number stops, or before that value stops going down. Whereas it should stop as soon as we release the button, kind of, maybe. What I'm gonna do is because we're checking animation states and I kind of want to keep it that way, I want to look at these animators. Because this one has exit time, and you can see that this stop block animation only takes so long. Okay, interesting. That one doesn't have exit time. That one does. And I just want to see if decreasing that exit time will fix this statistic, or this value. Okay, that's a lot better. It's at least quicker. Okay. That was not the animator. This is... How do I set the exit time? This one says exit time is 0. Okay. I'm going to go through all of the animators for each of these weapons. Oh no, they're still on all the nerd ones? Oh fuck. Okay. Gameplay, combat, weapons. So I guess we'll start with the K-type. That's cool. That's cool. Do we have issues actually with the other ones, or is it just the D-type? Let's see. So the E-type, it's actually fine with the E-type. The K-type. The K-type doesn't even want to block at all. The G-type is fine. And the SNS type is fine. So, okay. I think the K-type has different names. We have 2-block and blocking. And in our player combat manager, how do we... I don't need an is blocking with angle. I just want is blocking. So we have 2-block, blocking, and from block. Okay. And on the K-type, we have 2-block, block. Oh. Okay. It was named something different. Its clip was named blocking with a capital B. Lovely. This system is going to need to get changed at some point because A, it's using animation to track an input state on another client, and it is very reliant on state names. Okay, now it's working fine. Okay, cool. We make things more resilient. So block timer continues to tick down. Block signal. Block signals. So this is going to be a fun one because what I want to do, and I've explained this, I think, in the stream on Thursday. So in Super Smash Bros., you have a block or a shield or whatever you want to call it. But basically you have a block which holds up this little shield thing, and I want to see a GIF of it. So we have a shield or whatever, and when you get hit, that shield will deplete just a tad, or a certain amount. I'm not sure. And right now we can block attacks, and we get what is called a block signal, which then gets consumed, and we get a target RPC block signal. So here's where this happens. We have a block signal, and what I want to do is have this deplete a certain percentage of that block timer value. And the way that we're going to do this, I can close that out and close that out. And those two, honestly, is we're going to go into our weapon data, and we're going to add a float, public float, block signal, timer percentage, which I'll start with 0. And this is going to take a range from 0 to 1. And this is just going to be a percentage of the block timer, which gets taken or depleted when the player blocks an attack. God, excuse me, I'm being gross today. And so on this block signal, we're going to deplete block timer by percentage. Where actually is this? So we have can block if block timer. Okay, so block timer is, where does this get edited? I know there's a fixed update somewhere. Mono behavior. Fixed update. If we are blocking, then the block timer gets added to. Okay, so we want to add this percentage. Close that. Close that. So block timer plus equal block length times active weapon dot data dot block signal timer percentage. And now when we block an attack, it should work. Or it should chip away at how much block we have left. Ooh, I had my watch on way too tight. Got some lines. Okay. And the only way I'm really going to be able to test this is by actually pushing it to Git and pulling it on that other computer, because I need to be able to control inputs on both at the same time. So let me do that. Okay. All right, it is pushed. Now I gotta load up Unity on this other computer. Which is gonna take a moment. So I do apologize for the lack of content. Unity and VS Code. Because we're gonna need a poll. Whoa, it opened everything on here. Okay, and now I just pulled it. I'm gonna load up the editor, and then I'm gonna use that as an opportunity to go to the bathroom. All right, I will be back in one moment. Okay. All right. So I finally have it up. It took a little longer because I needed to change my Steam account, which meant I had to close Unity and then change the Steam account. And then we should be good now. So I'm going to create a game. I'm going to join on the other team. Oh, hey, we got to refresh our default prefabs. Freaking classic. Okay. Online. We can join the lobby. So now we have 2 different players here. And they're on 2 different teams. So I can go on this other one and I can block on our first character. Oh, I can only block for so long. So if I block and we take an attack, that is not in. Oh. Okay. Okay. So it's gonna crash Unity probably on the other computer. So what happened is that it probably works fine. I just maybe forgot to change the value that defaults to 0 to something other than 0. So the D type will have this be 0.1. Oh, or actually 0.25. You can block 4 attacks. With the E type, 0.33. With the G type, 0.5. With this, 0.25. And with this, that one should stay 0. Okay. Now we can do the test again. And we should just see that number chunk down when we take damage. Or when we get hit. Join. Then we can start the game. Okay, so I can block. And look at that. Chunks. Chunks. And actually, if we get 2 chunked. Ooh, interesting. Okay. 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 Looks like it's working. Coolio. Which means we can get rid of this one. And we can go here and just check that one as done. Sweet. Cool. That can get put there. What else do we want to do? We're actually making progress on a good chunk of these. The teammate lock-on setting might be worth it. Sometimes they're shown, sometimes they flicker. I think we fixed this one. I'm pretty sure we fixed this one because that was this. It was actually the animations. Sometimes death cameras don't get deactivated. We can attack well sheathed. What? Since when can we attack well? Oh, actually, you know what? That might be. It's like it's something to test. Something to test. So. Yeah, we can't attack while sheathed. Interesting. And we can kick. We can't block. That's good. Okay. Well, that's not too hard. Kicking while sheathed, I think that one's fine. But attacking while sheathed is maybe not one that we want. How do we check if we're sheathed or not? set sheath is here. Okay. This is an animation. No, we don't need a return because it's an arrow function. And we basically want to steal the is blocking one of these. Active weapon dot animator dot oh, we don't even need all of that. We just want to get rule. If I ever get a break, check out Nuclear Mages on Steam. Ooh, okay. Let's. Really quick, I want to. Once I'm done setting this up, actually, you know what? Let's do this. You said it was Nuclear Mages. Okay. Let's see. Trailer is winded. Hey, is anyone like actually good at editing? I feel like it's kind of hard. What kind of game is this? Did you make this? Okay. Those are some really nice particle effects. Let's see, is there gonna be this? So you're made from a chosen element, defeat the water purifying. Okay. I will warn you, the trailer is a little long. I know, I don't know, I don't have like actual statistics on it, but I know like a lot of people, they don't watch trailers if they're more than like 30 seconds. Like they'll only watch like the first 30 seconds. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, let's see. I want to show people what comes to the game genre I've been waiting for over 10 years. 3D RPG open worlds with dungeons, tower defense, and huge explosions. Okay, well the huge explosions is good. Full multiplayer. Okay, these are goals. Mage elements. Okay. Diablo 2 meets Skyrim. Okay. Magic only, no weapons. Honestly, that's neat. Because, like, I'm effectively taking a first-person shooter and removing all the guns and just keeping the melee. So the fact that you're, like, taking, like, the Skyrim combat system and removing all the weapons is kind of sick. 2 mage can be played solo. Cool. I mean, I'm gonna add this to my wish list. This is sick. Let's see. Oh, okay. So you made this in Unreal. Tower defense map. Hold on, I need to stop skipping around. I just need to see it. That's a cool ass explosion. That's pretty sick. Okay, so explore a big zone called the town map. Visit 5 shops. Tower defense. So there's dungeons, tower defense, and what? So it's a 3D RPG open world with dungeons, tower defense, and huge explosions. Okay. I'd wonder. I don't know if it was shown in the trailer how you swap between dungeons and tower defense. Are there just, is it like a big open world and then you have like a tower defense area, and then you have dungeons? I want to know how things are zoned. All right. I don't actually remember what I was working on. Oh, this is sheathed. Portals. Okay. Dungeons is an extractor type. All right. That's actually kind of sick. That's pretty sick. Okay. So we got to see. Okay, so we want sheath and sheath. Right now, only multiplayer trading works. Yeah, I mean, real-time multiplayer for anything is kind of a pain. It's a lot of work to get working, but it's very worth it. Okay, and then we have sheath and sheathed. Those are sheath and sheath. Actually, before I do that, I know that I'm gonna need to condense all of these down. So we have animations. So these are all. Okay, so we do want them to be called sheath or sheathed, all lowercase. Okay, K typed down, animations, those are both lowercase. Those are both lowercase. Those are both lowercase. Okay. And now I'm just gonna, in our fixed update, print out if we're sheathed or not. Oh, it's already 126? Oh, man. Okay. I thought it was like 12. Okay. Well, then I gotta get some stuff done quick. I only really planned on streaming until 2. So I guess it's gonna be speedrun time. We're gonna try and get this sheathed point down. Okay. So that's fun. Okay, so this is gonna have to be not an arrow function. Okay. So we are we sheathed? False. Okay. All right. So now we can use this to check if we can block or kick. So blocking can block. And not is quicking, not kicking, blocking, or sheathed. Okay. I have water on my finger and I'm using my mouse. That's great. It's our primary fire, so okay. I just realized, I mean, this is going to be something that we're going to have to just fix later. So you can kick if they're... Can you kick if you don't have a weapon? Actually. So, I mean, really quick, we'll just test this. What is our FOV? 100. Okay. Okay, but we can kick if we're on a ladder. Wow. Okay. If we drop the sword, we can kick. Ooh, actually, idea. If we don't have a sword, we can kick indefinitely. Maybe. Maybe. Okay, let's make this a ternary. If we have an active weapon, it's that. Otherwise, 0.1F. 0.2F. Okay, and then if we drop the sword, we can kick. Yeah, we can kick a lot. Okay. Alright, we can get rid of this debug call. Alright, so that's the sheathing thing. So we can no longer attack while sheathed. Sometimes can't swim up. Love that. I don't know what the fuck that means. Interesting. Let's look. Because I'm pretty sure that was an issue that I was having. Just. Oh, you know what? You know why we can't swim up? We fixed this a long time ago. It was because we had just added in toggle crouch and toggle sprint, and it was impacting our movement mode because it was just not letting us hijack the up and down motion of using space and the crouch key, or jump and the crouch key. And so that should just be fixed by default now. I'm gonna move all of the fixed ones up. Okay, we've actually made a really good dent today. That one's gonna be fun. Alright, I'm gonna pick a couple more like simple ones to do, and then I'll probably try and spend the rest of stream trying to get this death camera thing working. Just throwing my head into a wall. Okay, so if we have... Oh, we have to have multiple players. Okay. Why are we having... Why are you working now? I'm trying to get it... There we go. Okay. So. Oh, we don't want that. We want to check... That's a sync list. Okay. So why could this be happening? The index was out of range, so we should probably just check if ID is greater than... I did the same thing twice. There's dot count, then return. Or ID is less than 0. Okay, so we're just gonna make sure that we have a valid ID, and that should prevent us from trying to edit list entries that maybe don't exist. Oh, we still get one. Oh. Is there a way of checking if the... So, okay, so we'll make sure that the ID is valid, but we also gotta make sure that the local players list exists. Oh, hold on. So that's a sync list? I don't have to use a value. It's a special type. All right. Well, it was nice having you around. Hopefully you make it back. I stream, or at least I try and stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific time. So it was nice checking out your game, by the way. I'm really hyped to see what you do with that. So, peace. Have a good one. Okay, so it's not null, and I don't even know how to fix this one. I honestly don't know. Oh well. We'll table that one for now. All right, you know what? I think I think I'm the only one watching now. So, we've been streaming for 3.5 hours. I think it is a pretty okay time to call it. I gotta eat. We got a lot of these done. We've definitely progressed the bug list a good bit. Some of these I'm gonna need to do on my own time because some of these are gonna be kind of a pain to figure out. But it's been good. I will see y'all. I'm not gonna be able to stream on Thursday because I have to go help out my parents. But I will be back on Monday. Maybe really, really tired, but I'll be back on Monday. So, have a happy April 20th to those who celebrate. And yeah, I'll see you all around. Peace.